Good to see you again. Colin Baker here, the Sixth Doctor, or Old Sixie as I like to call him. And let me welcome you once more into the TARDIS. At the risk of repeating myself, being the Doctor does bring you quite a bit of attention, and it's been my great honour to be amongst those who have been and still are the Doctor. I've played Old Sixie on television, stage, and in audio adventures, which in this case are licensed by the BBC and made by Big Finish Productions for the delight of your ears. And that brings us to the podcast, because this is all about those Big Finish full-cast Doctor Who audio adventures. Each edition of Into the TARDIS gives you not only an exciting instalment of Doctor Who, but it features the TV cast returning with friends old and new, as well as enemies and aliens. Some that you'll recognise instantly, and others who will become your new favourites, I'm sure. This week, we feature part 3 of The Night Witches by Roland Moore. Now, if you missed parts 1 and 2 and want to give those a listen first, be my guest. But if you're the type that doesn't mind jumping straight in, let me quickly bring you up to speed before you jump in. Having landed with Polly's help in 1942, as she learns how to steer the TARDIS, it turns out that she is the spitting image of one of the 588th Regiment of Night Bombers, star pilots, Tatiana Krecki. Suspecting a cunning plot by the Germans to place a spy in their midst, Commander Nadia Vazny is suspicious of the TARDIS team, but as they appear to be skillful and useful, she lets them help in their preparations for night raids against the Germans. Ben, it seems, is forming a close attachment to the pilot Lilia Grankin, herself rescued by the TARDIS team after she saved them from a panzer attack and was then shot down. Polly and Tatiana are getting to know each other, and Tatiana displays great talent when it comes to mimicking Polly. The fact that they are indistinguishable from each other plants a seed in the commander's mind. The Doctor, meanwhile, is worried about why they've been drawn to this time and place, and pleads with Commander Nadia that they be allowed to go on their way. Nadia will allow the Doctor and Jamie to leave in a lorry that can be used to collect the TARDIS and return with it to the airstrip. She wants to make certain that they aren't spies. As the Doctor and Jamie depart, Nadia confides in Lilia that she has a plan to use Polly to their advantage, allowing her to be captured by the Germans, who will execute her, thinking she is Tatiana. Then, when Tatiana seems to come back from the dead, the Germans will fear that the Night Witches are well named. Lilia is ordered to ready Nadia's plane so she can provide air support for the Doctor and Jamie, a plan that is just an excuse to kill them to prevent Polly from leaving. Lilia, racked with guilt, tells Ben what is being planned. Nadia has placed fuel tanks in the back of the Doctor and Jamie's lorry, and even at that moment, she's on a bombing run with the Doctor and Jamie as the target. A mighty explosion seems to confirm that Nadia has completed her objective. Ooh. Now, as you're all caught up, let's listen to part 3 of The Night Witches. With friends like Tatiana, eh? So, Polly behind enemy lines, with Tatiana planning to take her place in the TARDIS, and as we know, she is a good mimic. Ben a prisoner again, with Lilia in a critical condition after trying to help save Polly and being shot by the commander, and German forces closing in on the Night Witch's base. The stakes as ever are high for our next episode. But at least the Doctor and Jamie are alive, and they have the TARDIS. Perhaps there is a glimmer of hope? We'll find out next time. And now, here's a look behind the scenes with Elliot Chapman, or Ben, as we might better know him.
My name is Elliot Chapman, and I'm playing Ben Jackson. I think this is the third year. The nice thing is I still find things, either because the writers, just push that little bit more, and maybe it's something like, oh, I've got something here I haven't had to do before, or, oh, well, that's a sort of new layer to him. But going back to Michael Craze's performance, and this was particularly pertinent when The Power of the Daleks was animated, I thought, oh, there's little nuances here, I've got to remember them and I've got to note them for the next time. There's still scope. There is interview footage online with one of the Night Witches, much older, and I think she's receiving an award, and she gives a short speech, and it's just that moment where you're watching and your jaw is slackening because you think, you've done this, you've had such an extraordinary life, and she stood there and she's one of the Night Witches and she's got this honour. So it's great. I love it when they tap into real events and real people. Roland, our writer, is sort of covered all the Ben bases. He gets Ben to do an awful lot, because you get the standard running, jumping, climbing trees, running away from people, maybe getting into a bit of a fight. But he's also given him this very, very lovely, touching relationship with Lilia, one of the Night Witches, which is interesting because we do these sort of out of continuity order, and we now know that eventually, when they're in their middle age, Ben and Polly do have they do get married, and Russell T Davies made this apparent as well. There's this relationship, not a full-on relationship, but a sort of possibility of a relationship with someone who isn't Polly, and it just leaves lots of things floating, and Annika's picked up on this beautifully sometimes, so she'll say things to Ben, and there's just a little tinge of, oh, you're kind of, who's this then that you've found to play with? Roland's put us through the emotional ringer on this one, because there's danger everywhere in this environment, and the possibilities of someone being blown up or something. I think what it does, it's something I discussed with Roland. I said it's one of the things I really love about what Big Finish manages to do, which is it takes quite a bit of things that I associate with the new series, which is the character interactions, the little bits of human interest. So when Polly and I are really convinced the Doctor and Jamie are dead, but then puts it within the context of the 1960s adventure serial format. So you really do get with these, I think, the best of both worlds. It becomes like a meeting point between the way the new series is done and the old series, and so it keeps it relevant whilst respectful of the original.
And so, will Tatiana fool the Doctor, Jamie and Ben? How close are the Germans in their offensive? And can Polly survive alone, in the cold, and with the enemy all around her? Find out next time, when I invite you back into the TARDIS. Now, don't forget that Doctor Who, the worlds of Doctor Who, and more besides, live on at bigfinish.com. You've been listening to Into the TARDIS, hosted by me, Colin Baker, and produced by Ian Meadows. Supervising producer was Lizzie Wursdell, and executive producers are Nicholas Briggs and Jason Haig-Ellery.